What's up everybody, Rebel here, and the Game Awards 2020 were last night, so let's get into it.
Drank beer, liked beer, still like beer.
Alright, so we had the Video Game Awards of 2020 last night, and I have to say, what started out with some momentum, some hype, just ended up being one of the lamest video game event showcase things that I think I've ever watched. Yeah, so it started and Andy said something, I think we're awaiting a new arriver. And then you hear you see Smash Brothers and it's like, oh my god, a new Smash character. And then you hear the Sephiroth music and it's like, oh my god, Seth is coming to Smash. That is awesome. That was probably the best reveal of the night. And that was for a DLC character, one DLC character for a game that's, what, over a year old? And that was the best reveal. At least in my opinion. You might have been really hyped on something else, but hey, let's keep going. Let's keep talking about it. There was this one point when the announcer Jeff Keighley had said that something about one of our favorite zombie franchises, and I was like, oh cool, we're gonna see something new for Resident Evil Village. No, I guess by favorite zombie franchise, video game franchise, he was referring to the Evil Dead? Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised we didn't see anything for Resident Evil Village. It is a game that's gonna be coming out soon, maybe in late 2021, who knows? But, you know, they could have showed something to kind of make the show a little better. On top of that, when I kept seeing zombie games, I was like, oh, another zombie game. Oh, a fourth zombie game. Were there only 4 zombie games or were there 5 zombie games? Let's just say there were 4 zombie games, and then they announced that Michonne and Daryl Dixon would be playable characters in Fortnite. I'm sorry, what year is this? 2011? I have no idea why they're still trying to pump out so much zombie-themed stuff. I feel like it's a dying breed. No pun intended, I guess. 4 zombie games and zombie DLC for Fortnite, and it's a little much. I would have been fine with just one zombie-themed thing, Resident Evil 8. I digress. On top of that, it turns out at the very end of the Game Awards, we learned that Mass Effect is... It's a thing still, apparently. It's not gone. I mean, hold on a second. Let me look something up. I'm not recording my screen right now, so last Mass Effect game, Mass Effect Andromeda, came out in 2017. So it's only been 3 years, and they're like, hey, we're still around. Okay, who is questioning that after 3 years? After 3 years, yeah, I feel like once you get to 7 years, that's when it's reasonable to start being like, is this game ever gonna come? Are they even gonna be making a new one? 3 years seems to me like it's on schedule. So I don't know why they felt like being like, hey, by the way, we're still around. We're not defunct yet. Okay, cool. I feel like if you really like Mass Effect, then you might be hyped on that. Maybe it means 4 is going to be coming, but they didn't even announce a title, so I don't know. That's just very interesting. And then I have to say Perfect Dark looked pretty interesting, as well as, what was it, Crimson Desert. That looked okay. That looked interesting. I'm curious to see more. Perfect Dark, I guess, is a franchise that was around on the N64. I am not familiar with it, but apparently the premise of the game is that capitalism is bad. So does that mean I should stop buying video games? And yeah, that was about it. That was literally all we got, and it was very lackluster, very boring, very uneventful. As far as the game reveals went, there was really nothing that caught my attention except Sephiroth being added to Smash. I own Smash, but I don't really play Smash anymore, so I'm not going to be getting Sephiroth. It's just cool to see them as a DLC character. Maybe in the next Smash, they'll just be a standard character. Who knows? But moving on, the second biggest highlight of the Game Awards was that there were a bunch of celebrities. And that's cool. I mean, it's a video game award. It's not really have anything to do with, you know, Hollywood people. So the fact that there were a bunch of Hollywood people is you know, kind of counterintuitive to what I think a video game award show should be. But hey, Brie Larson was there. That's something, right? I mean, is she in a video game? I feel like, you know, there's the Avengers game that came out recently, but I feel like they probably have different cast than the movies, so maybe Brie Larson's not even in the game. But even still, I'm talking about the Avengers game that, as far as I'm aware, has still lost money. It hasn't turned a profit on the game. It's still in the red with development costs, hasn't sold a lot of copies, development costs still above how much they've made off the game. So maybe they're inviting her because she represents a game that is in the red. I'm not entirely sure. Keanu Reeves was there. That's kind of cool, but I mean, why? He could have not been there, and that would have been fine. I will say Ralph Macchio, he gets a pass. I don't mind him being there. That was fine with me. On top of that, there was an orchestra that played, London Philharmonic. That was cool. They played games for the 35th anniversary of Super Mario, which the game that came out for the release of Super Mario was the Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which had Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. The 3 songs that they played at the Game Awards were Super Mario 64, Super Mario Galaxy, and Super Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey. I'm not entirely sure why Super Mario Sunshine was left out of the medley. I feel like that's kind of disrespectful. Super Mario Sunshine might be my favorite of those games. I know, unpopular opinion. I grew up with the GameCube though, so that's what I get. The Galaxy 2 wasn't in there either. And I also think it's kind of weird that they took an orchestraic song in Super Mario Galaxy and played it in an orchestra, the way it was written and initially performed. So it's just the song. It's literally just the same song. It's the same song. Sunshine would have probably made me a lot happier with that whole performance. And finally, we have the winners of the Game Awards. And here's where I will be recording my screen. Okay, let's get rid of me. Hi, me. Okay, so the winners of all of this stuff. Of course, we had The Last of Us Part 2. I'm starting at the bottom of the list. We had The Last of Us Part 2 winning innovation and accessibility. I guess that's things that have to do with color blindness. You have one hand, and the game provides you ways to change your controller to better suit that. They don't really explain what these categories truly represent. I'm skipping a bunch here. Debut indie game, best esports coach, studio game direction. So the winner for studio game direction was, of course, Naughty Dog with The Last of Us Part 2. I'm not sure entirely what they mean by game direction. The direction the story goes, the direction that they made the game. I'm not entirely sure. Score, soundtrack, Final Fantasy VII won. Of course, I really think it should have. Best sports game, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I actually saw them announce this one and was like, hey, Tony Hawk won. That's pretty cool. With a lot of these awards, they were just like, and for best sports racing game, there's Tony Hawk 1 and 2, FIFA, NBA, F1, and Dirt 5, and the winner is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. And then they're on to the next thing, to where if you're on YouTube and you skip by 15 seconds, you completely miss that announcement. Terrible. This was terrible. This is just terrible. Best performance, Laura Bailey as Abby, I think, in Last of Us Part 2. Best action game, Hades won over Doom Eternal. I'd say Doom Eternal is more action-y. I didn't really study Hades' combat when I was looking at all the gameplay. Either one of those two, you know, I feel like we're the top 2 front runners. It's a little weird it wasn't given to Doom Eternal though. Anyways, best VR game, Half-Life Alyx, of course. Best fighting game, Mortal Kombat, of course. Best family game, Animal Crossing, very nice. I didn't even see them announce that one, because like I said, they'll announce these in under 10 seconds. You skip once and you could have just passed it. Best indie game, Hades, of course. When a game is nominated for Game of the Year and it's the only game in that category, it's gonna win that category, hands down. Let's see, Content Creator of the Year was, hey, Scummy Rebel. Most anticipated game, Elden Ring, Bandai Entertainment. Is Elden Ring supposed to be like made by the same people that make all of the really, really hard games? So what is it, like an Elder Scrolls, but incredibly difficult? Yeah, it seems cool. All of these games seem awesome except like God of War. God of War probably seems tight. I'm not a big Halo fan though. Role-playing game, Final Fantasy VII, awesome. Best action adventure game, Last of Us Part 2. You know, it had to win something. This is probably the only one that I'm like, okay, I guess. Ghost of Tsushima, maybe, pretty close. Jedi, Star Wars, Fallen Order, that maybe. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. All of these seem like they're great action adventure games, but of course, went to The Last of Us Part 2. Best audio design. I'm surprised this wasn't Ghost of Tsushima, with how much the audio design is prevalent in that game, with the wind, the leaves, just every little sound effect is so well done. The Last of Us Part 1 had great audio design, but I'm not sure if The Last of Us Part 2 did anything to really improve upon that. They could have. It was just never at the forefront of any discussion about the game, even through positive reviews. Best ongoing game, I'm very surprised No Man's Sky won this. Isn't this the game that was just like, had nothing when it came out, and everyone was like, this is so bereft of anything at all, but now it's the best ongoing game. Okay. Best art direction. I'm kind of surprised either Ori or Hades didn't win this, with the art direction being more unique instead of less realistic. But hey, Ghost of Tsushima was a beautiful game, so I'm glad it won something there. Best narrative, Last of Us Part 2. Now this is funny because The Last of Us Part 2, the only contention about the game was the story, so it's kind of surprising to me that it won best narrative. Based on what I've seen about Hades, I think that game probably should have won best narrative. Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's just a remake, so there's nothing too revolutionary there, but Hades had an amazing sort of premise that I haven't seen since Herc's Adventure on PS1, where every time you die, you end up further in Hades and have to travel further to get back out to the main world. It's very different than this game, Hades, but it's similar in that sort of sense of when you die, you restart but continue your progress. It's interesting. It seems like it had a great narrative. When The Last of Us Part 2, that was where there was a lot of contention. Game of the Year winner was, of course, The Last of Us Part 2. It won Game of the Year. That was the Game of the Year game. That's what won. Okay, that's one thing, but I thought this was kind of funny. I had Google searched Game Awards winner, Player's Choice. What's this article by CBR? Ghost of Tsushima wins 2020's Player's Choice Voice Awards. Player's Voice Awards. Sucker Punch Productions and Sony Interactive Entertainment's Ghost of Tsushima won the Game Awards coveted Player's Voice Awards. Do they explain the Gamer's Choice Award? No, but the way they kind of explained it as the award show was going on was that players voted for games. Those top 5 games went to the top 5, and then he announced the winner, and it was Ghost of Tsushima. The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure when you went to the Game Awards website after the nominations and before the award show, you could vote for which game you wanted to win. Is that not how they tally the winner, by who votes for it? Because it seems to me that Player's Voice Award would probably end up being the same as Game of the Year award, because people would be voting for what game is their favorite, also which game they think should be Game of the Year. I think those are two incredibly similar things, and they would probably rarely end up being different choices, yet somehow when it came down to the Player's Choice, Ghost of Tsushima. When it came down to the Player's Choice through Game of the Year nominations, it was The Last of Us Part 2. So I am just a little bit confused about that, but then again, not really, because that tends to be how media, especially nowadays video game media, tends to be. It tends to be like, hey, who do you guys think should win this? Ghost of Tsushima. Last of Us Part 2? Sounds good to me. And that was the Game Awards of 2020. Am I upset that The Last of Us Part 2 won? No, because it's probably the biggest name AAA game that came out. I do think it's kind of funny that the players chose Ghost of Tsushima, but the people voting for the Game Awards, which should have been video gamers, was The Last of Us Part 2. I really think it's funny they won Best Narrative. They probably could have done without that. Best Narrative probably gone to Hades. And it's just my opinion, though. That's just because I think they had a really good narrative. And if you want to add all of that up, surprise, surprise, The Last of Us Part 2 won 7 out of 9 nominations. Congrats. I don't know how they won Best Narrative, especially with, like I said, that's the most contentious part of the game. People love it. People don't love it. People hate it. Some people are indifferent. I'm not going to say that Dominion software was used in the Game Awards, but I mean, 4.7 out of 5, 96% on Google, 93 58% like this game on Google. Okay, yeah, like I'm not telling anyone that they shouldn't like the game. I'm just letting people know, because people tend to think that I don't know what I'm talking about when I say that there is a disconnect between game reviewers and the players. The disconnect being that every single reviewer loves the game, where with gamers it's 50-50. For somehow me saying that, apparently I'm telling people that they don't actually love the game. When I say that half of the gamers out there love the game, the other half hate it. Apparently, I'm misrepresenting the people that love the game by saying that they don't exist when I'm saying 50% of them do exist. I have no idea. It seems to me like when you're on YouTube and you say something that people just somewhat disagree with, just slightly. No, you're wrong, because you exactly expressed how I feel about the game, but you're wrong. You gotta love people. Video game awards. Video game awards. They're video games. They don't need awards. And that's gonna wrap this one up. Too many celebrities, a lot of very, very boring game reveals. Nothing interesting, nothing that really caught my attention at all. And, the winners, there were a couple winners that it's like, hey, good job. But, it's kind of just like, what even is this? What are we doing? Why are we watching video game awards? Like, honestly, let me say this. If they were to explain why these people won, if they were to spend more than 10 seconds on each category, then maybe it would be a little more interesting. If they were to explain why The Last of Us Part 2 won Best Narrative, and were to explain, the reasoning behind that, and really look deeper into the games that we all love playing, that would have been a much better experience. But instead we got the Game Awards 2020. Smash that like button if you enjoyed, greatly helps out the channel. Make sure you're subscribed if you like. I don't always do little rants like this, but if I feel like it, I definitely do. I do try to do more effort-based videos. But hey, low-hanging fruit, man. And until next time, peace.